welcome everybody. We are back live with Veteran Nation this week. Joining me, as always, is the very honorable Mr. T.C. Pearson.
Very?
I'm gonna go with very, yeah. The very honorable
I'm
gentleman
all
from.
rusty. We haven't done this, and we haven't done this since last year.
Ha
That's the
ha
closest I'm
ha.
going to get to a mic level joke. Um, and Juan not yelling at me off screen to like change how I'm sitting.
Move your camera.
Get, get centered, center. Pivot. I do have. I do need to correct the guest that was on just prior to us there on the Council of Colonels.
Oh, Mr.
He
Manis?
referred to it as the 101st Airborne Division. And I just want to say for all of the people who are actual paratroopers, the 101st is an Air Assault Division now. And inter-house rivalry aside, they're still dopes on a rope.
They still down there at Fort Liberty? It's so bad. They approved all those name changes, and I'm like, oh my god. Some of them are just straight
How
cringe.
many military forts and posts and bases were changed now?
I believe it was just shy of 20. I think it was like 18. One might have that. We'll see. But yeah,
He's gonna look it up.
there was a full list,
Right.
and like the ones that are named after generals, fine, got it, but really,
Why? No, I like. Why do we have to change everything?
true,
I feel
true.
like we're living in 1984, and I don't mean the year, folks. I mean the book.
But the
Okay,
USS
all right.
Harvey
Let me
Milk
start
is
over.
still named after a pedophile. Don't forget.
Just I made a reference to a word book. That's BOOK for all of the warrant officers and Marines out there. And
We have coloring ones. Don't forget.
yeah, but you guys isn't like BUK like in a book. I got my book.
Just do we eat the crayons before we're done with it? Is the question.
you you were that guy, weren't you? That ate that had the puff rice and the Elmer's glue for your art projects in kindergarten and first grade. That was like, look,
I was always that guy. Uh, I remember in the officers meetings, there were just a couple that would just cringe whenever the CO would go to me. Uh, what was funny though was my first, as an officer, my first duty station, I would have to sign in and do the staff meeting via conference call. And one of my best friends was on the battalion staff, whereas I was on a company staff, and I was always the one who had to do the call, and I would be on mute, and I'd be sitting there, and I would start texting people who were in the staff meeting to see who forgot to turn off their phone, and it was always so great when I would hear a phone ring while I'm sitting on the conference call, just because I know everyone was shooting daggers at that person. I was just a jerk.
you are why the term frag exists. And for our Air Force friends, frag is a term that's used. It refers to a fragmentation grenade. A fragmentation grenade is an anti-personnel weapon that is carried by people who get out of their vehicles and their aircraft and walk around in hostile enemy territory. And when properly placed, a fragmentation grenade can be used against enemy combatants at a
It's
relatively close distance.
it's one of
So
those things
if
that
that
you wear
helps
the
anybody in the Air Force or the Coast Guard understand.
Yeah, for the Air Force, it's one of the things that your glow belt, your reflective belt that you wear. That's what it's to protect you from, and that's why you wear it all the time.
Oh, Happy New Year, friends.
We're a safety first organization here.
Oh,
You all suck.
Juan sent a message today, and it wouldn't down for some reason. It wouldn't download, and I was like, "This is him telling us Better Nation has been canceled," and you would now know why. Hmm. Did you guys see that Task and Purpose on New Year's Eve published a and Juan, if you want to look it up, you can. On New Year's Eve, Task and Purpose had to publish a story. And if you're not familiar, Task and Purpose is kind of a military oriented publication online. They had to they posted a article saying, here's your periodic reminder that Bradley fighting vehicles are not tanks. And of course they're posting that because we're preparing to send a massive amount of Bradleys to the Ukraine, and people are upset because they're, why are we sending all of our tanks? And so to make sure that we got the story straight, we said no, we're not sending tanks, we're sending Bradleys. There's a difference.
In the meantime, all the old MRAPs that the military gives to the police, I see people are like, they're giving the police force tanks. And I look at them, I'm like, yeah, that's just a MRAP, and the military is getting rid of them. I understand it's an up-armored vehicle, but they use them for crowd control, not for everyday use.
Yeah,
Supposed to use them for crowd control is actually
I
what
won't.
I actually wish,
I'm
because
not gonna.
okay, I'm going to give people a little bit of my experience, because I did do foreign military sales cases for a short time in the military, and when we sell our military equipment to other countries, there's certain
There
rules
we
that they
go.
have to follow, and one of them is that they can't use them on their civilian populace, and Bahrain is a very famous example that during the Arab Spring they had protests and whatnot. They used all the military equipment that the U.S. sold to them against their civilian populace, and for I think it was for at least 8 years, possibly even longer, they could not buy any U.S. equipment, or that it had to be highly scrutinized by Congress. I wish that when the military gives its
Wait. Did you just say highly scrutinized by Congress?
surprisingly, yes, it has to go. It has to
Have
go
you
a
did you
for.
watch? Have you watched Congress since it came back into session?
Oh,
I'm all for deadlock.
I am loving
I'm
it.
all for deadlock. I'm
Yeah,
like nothing happening is the best thing for all of us.
absolutely. I'm praying for a
I do
government
not
shutdown.
buy highly scrutinized. That's that. Now that was funny, Skipper. You're gonna want us to take 3 weeks off every week.
That's
Have you
like,
ever noticed that Juan, whenever like Juan just like picks a random room of like a neighbor's house to produce the show from every time we do this? Like the last show we did, I don't know if anybody, this is how long ago it was. It was almost a month ago that we did our last show because we had our season break. This is a new season, right?
yeah, yeah.
So this is season 3.
Um, I guess I didn't want when we first started doing seasons of the show, I didn't really want to do a numbering convention because I didn't really like that, like Veteran Nation
Well,
episode 250. I didn't really like that, so I named them. I think we should come up with a name for this season. Um, yeah, that's how they're on the website. That's how they're kind of structured. So maybe let's call this one Veteran Nation. Uh, let's give
oh,
it
I
a,
like
a
that. Better
subtitle.
Nation season, possibly the last. I love that.
Yeah, like how bands always do that. Like they'll be like the last ride, And they're like, "Yep, this is it. It's the last ride." And all these people pay big money because they're like, "Oh, we're never gonna see the Rolling Stones again." And then 2 years later, they do the last tour.
You know who never did that?
Who's that?
The band, the Canadian band Rush.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Kiss. I'm just saying that because Tommy's watching the show tonight. Hey, Tommy. He's a big Kiss
Tommy.
fan.
Oh, Tommy Karate.
Yep. Yeah,
Isn't he
Rush.
supposed to be a comedian?
He is not, but he is a very funny guy.
Oh, because you always say, "Hey, he's really funny," so I'm assuming he's a comedian.
Yeah, he's
Because we had
act.
Andrea on, and she's actually a comedian, and Tommy won't come on to like prove his chops. So
Tommy's been on the show before. In fact, we had to put it behind a
not with
paywall.
me.
When we had to put it behind a paywall when we first started because we were all drinking, and he had drank quite a bit while we was waiting for the show to start, and yeah, we had a
Drinking.
lot of f bombs.
What are you talking about?
But yeah, Tommy's a great supporter of the show, so always good to have him.
And
And
a
me and
and a vet too, isn't he?
he is. He's an army vet, and he's also an army brat. He grew up for a portion of his time in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, that's why you think he's funny. You're afraid of him. Mhm. How's your dust storm?
It's actually lightened up quite a bit when just so people know, we're hitting some really crazy weather here in California, and for me, it's a dust storm, which is pretty much 30-mile-per-hour plus winds. And thank God it's not trash night because I would be running down the block to pick up my trash.
You know, it's strange. In all the time I've known you, that's not the first time I've ever imagined you running down the block to pick up trash.
I was in the Marine Corps for 16 years.
Oh.
Everybody does police call. And if it doesn't grow, it goes.
So many bad cop jokes right there right now. Police call, picking up trash. I just
Yeah, I don't know how it got that name. You know, some of the traditions that we have and the way things kind of evolve in the military. I'm
police
just
your
like,
area.
yeah.
So, you want me to tase this suspect 15 times in the groin, put him in handcuffs, and tell him to stop resisting?
Oh my God, you're giving me flashbacks to the movie Good Morning Vietnam. Police action. What's that supposed to mean? I think it's a couple of cops having a coffee saying, "Oh no, she looks pretty good to me. What do you think?"
I could do the helicopter effects.
That's a great movie. I'm gonna have to watch that movie. It's been a while since I watched it.
You know what we need to do because Juan's not busy enough. Like once a month, we need to have a Veteran Nation movie watch party.
Um, we could do that. That can be arranged. Um, yeah, we have
It'd
to
have to be
work.
like on a weekend where people can drink and get up in the morning and not have to worry about going to work, as opposed to me who drinks at night and doesn't worry about going to work in the morning.
Well, I will be home on Monday because it's Martin Luther King Day celebration. So, um, just saying. We would have to make sure that we're not breaking any type of copyright restrictions or anything like that. Like,
There's like some weird thing about like if you do a watch party and you're not like doing it like charging for it or
mhm.
something. It's weird. I don't.
And there's certain parts that you can stream and like certain things that you can't stream. I would say like with that movie, be careful. We probably wouldn't want to put the audio up or when there's what do I say when there's music, certain music. It's the Beach Boy Mafia. They're out there. They were. Hey, I'm just gonna point out they were friends with the Manson family.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the season premiere a Veteran Nation here on Right America Media and the New Right Network. And as our producer here on Right America Media has titled our new season, possibly our last. So now you know why. So I do have something I am working on. By the way, I tomorrow night on my channel, Minnesota Black Robe Regiment on YouTube and on Rumble, I will be interviewing the chair of the National Libertarian Party. Her name is Angela McCartle, and she's also co-sponsoring an event in February in Washington D.C. called Rage Against the War Machine. And if you are, as a veteran, you should be pro peace and anti interventionism. Uh, Please be checking them out. You can find them on the webs, the interwebs, at Rage Against the War Machine. If Juan could maybe even bring that up, if he he got tired of our jokes and just kind of spaced out. Um, he fell
We're the
he fell
last
asleep.
show. It's the end of his workday, so yeah, he's. You know how that is when you're done
He's
with
all day.
work,
It's,
you're
yeah,
ready
it's
to
like
go
literally
home.
why that's why he puts us at his 8:15 time slot.
He's got his
So
keys
he
sitting on
tried
the
to push
desk.
it back a little to 8, and I was like, "No, I'm still in the shower."
We know what you're doing, Juan.
Rage Against the War Machine, and and I am working on getting Angela and other people from the Rage Against the War, because it is a bipartisan, well, it's a multi-partisan organization. It's got people on both the left and the right of the spectrum that are involved. And I'm working on getting Angela as well as other representatives from the organization to come on and promote their event in Washington, D.C. If I remember correctly, the event is taking place on the day of the anniversary of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And that's kind of been their sticking point for a long time. It's a lot of the anti-interventionist and peace-minded individuals, especially within the veteran community, have been focusing on things like, getting people out of Afghanistan, talking about a lot of the mistakes that were made with Ukraine, or not Ukraine, but with Iraq and Afghanistan. Uh, but what they are working towards now is really getting the American population to focus on the Ukraine, and why this is an endeavor that we really need to take seriously, because of the fact that maybe, and I'm paraphrasing a lot of what they said, but maybe one of the biggest things about this is just the billions and billions of dollars that we've invested. And the more we invest, bear with me, folks, the more we invest, the more likely we are to commit even more American military troops on the ground in the Ukraine. And we know now, as I've been saying, and Skipper and Juan can back me up on this. I've been saying this since it started. There are American troops on the ground, and now we have confirmation of that they've been there from the beginning. And people kind of poo-pooed me on that and said, "Oh no, we don't. They'd tell us, really." But the more we invest, the more we invest. I invest.
They'll tell you just
I hate
after
it when
they
the
do
government
find
tells
out.
them. When the state tells us they're investing, what they're saying is we're taking more money from you and giving it to someone who doesn't deserve it. Um, the more they put into this, the more likely we are to be so committed to it that we're going to have to put troops in. We're going to have to. Or we're going to have to completely stop and admit that we were completely wrong.
And
And that's not going to happen. So,
what's also fascinating is when you actually learn how the State Department deals with things, you realize that all that we're doing is trying to keep, like, all our government is really doing with this is trying to keep American workers working. It's absolutely a way to try to influence the economy.
well, I think, and I mean, historically, look, we've shifted. We've gone from being, like asinine and jokey to having a serious conversation. What the heck is this show? Um, the reality is that there's this presupposition that wartime footing is good for the economy, and they point to things like, well, World War II brought the U.S. out of the Great Depression. Um, World War One, excuse me, brought the U.S. out of the Great Depression. World War II was really good for the economy because so many people were working. And really, what ended up happening in both those situations is so many American men were ripped out of their homes, ripped out of their responsibilities, that the few that were left behind and women had to really get out into the workforce to continue to fund and supply the war machine. So sure, there was a boom in the economy in the sense that people were working and making money and spending it,
Well,
but ultimately the economy is hurt by a continuous state of war because that money is being poured into other nations. And the more that the American public is working, the private public of the United States is working, the more they're making, the more money is poured into that war machine, which just perpetuates the expenditures that could be going to doing things like, I don't know, housing homeless war vets as opposed to securing Ukrainian democracy.
well, I'll actually give you, because like I said, I worked on a foreign military sales case. I'll give you how the State Department, and actually one, it was the Air Force who gave me a security cooperation course where I learned foreign military sales cases. This is how they move money. So Congress will say, yeah, we're going to send money to Ukraine. Now, that money gets put in a checkbook, okay? And that doesn't immediately go to Ukraine. Some of it immediately does, gets put into the State Department's things, and they give the funds directly to them. Some go to non-government organizations, and they do a lot of crazy things with that money, like buy food, medical supplies, stuff like that, which are all things to offset that country's military. So now they're not burdened with the price of war, essentially. But let's say, they give them, hey, we're going to give you, 100 tanks, okay? Those 100 tanks are already built. Rarely do they ever send those 100 tanks immediately. What they say is, okay, we're going to give you 25 of these tanks. And what we're going to do is we're going to build you more. And we're going to hold on to them. And then as your tanks that we sent you, as they go down, we'll send you more. We'll replenish you. So pretty much those 100 tanks that are sitting in a warehouse for General Dynamics in Ohio, as they ship out, the people in Lima, Ohio now are building more tanks. And it's for Ukraine, even though most of them are going to go into a warehouse and just wait to be, replenishment for anything that's blown up, as an example. So, yeah, there's
You
a
just
lot
say
of times.
Lima.
Well, I just know General Dynamics in Lima, Ohio, because I'm from Ohio. So that's why I'm using that one as an example. But there's plenty of examples all over the country.
So
Uh,
everybody else in the country is wrong when they say Lima, Ohio.
yes. Oh, they will correct you there that it's Lima.
Okay,
it's
all right.
it's not Peru.
I'm
Uh,
just clarifying.
but yeah, that's how it's all done. So it becomes like this trickle effect. So that money that's for Ukraine, yeah, some of it's going directly there, but a good portion of it is going more towards people who are going to be selling them the big pieces of equipment, and then that money, that checkbook's also used for uh, broken tank pieces, for ammunition, for all the consumable items that running a tank is gonna need. New pieces of track, new mortar shells, stuff like that. So when they say
What if it's not a tank, but it's a Bradley fighting vehicle?
so
Does
so
that I
that's still a tracked vehicle, so you're still gonna need track. You're still
see
gonna
what I
need parts.
see
Uh,
what I did there?
I
I
did.
brought it.
So
I made it relevant.
that's called a callback. So yeah, you called it back. See,
Throwback.
we are actually getting to be a professional show. Look at that. We're educating people. We're doing callbacks. Next
I
thing
know.
you
Let's
know,
ask Juan. Is this a professional show?
we're better than 90% of what's on CNN right now.
There it is. There's the throwback. Like, if our competition is CNN, did you watch Lauren Boebert's interview on CNN? Juan, have you seen that? Oh, you got to find that. That'd be a great one for us.
Who was it? Pretty hostile.
Boebert literally said, "You are oh, it's yeah." Boebert does, like, she pulls no punches. It's literally probably one of the greatest things I've seen.
Is this the one where she called them the Clinton News Network?
She called them clowns. She considers clowns completely unprofessional. Because the gal goes, well, if you want to talk about that, we'd gladly have you tap back to debate that topic. I mean, just talk about the exposure of admitting
I
that
love
it was for
primarily because I love chaos. I just love chaos.
Well, you were a Marine. So.
I'm not so much of an anarchist as I am the guy who enjoys watching it.
That's... Yeah, videos of some girls will enjoy, he says. Anyway, yeah. So so people need to know, if you need a FOIA expert or a data practices expert, Mike is your guy. Skipper Arthur is your guy, and he's supposed to be working on a project for me. I don't know if he's gotten anywhere with it, but he was sick when I asked him.
Yeah. I gotta actually move a couple of my FOIA things forward. It's one of those things I would like to do is get people together who are doing FOIA requests, because with FOIA, it's all about the public have a need to know. And I just had one a couple months ago from the Navy denied because they said it wasn't noteworthy to the public. It's like, well, I'm a member of the public and I'm asking for it, but that's not noteworthy.
I find it to be noteworthy.
Yeah. But the more people that you have asking, because every time you do a FOIA or open records in most states, they give you a number attached to it. And in fact, one guy, I'll give him a shout out, Denver Metro Audits. He does a lot of stuff like this. And whenever you do a FOIA request, publish the number so that other people can ask about that FOIA request. So then if they're getting bombarded with multiple people, it's going to be harder for them to deny. And the other thing I'll tell people, that if you do a FOIA request and any part of it at all is denied, always appeal, because generally that's your legal standing if something ever comes out that should have been a part of your FOIA that wasn't released.
What they're counting on in those situations is you're gonna, it was denied, I guess I don't have a right to see it. So
absolutely.
They'll
redact stuff.
Yeah.
In fact, a good show on this is Summary Judgment with the legendary Ed Peruta, who he's on YouTube. He famously confronted California about their gun laws, went all the way up to the Ninth Circuit. Unfortunately, the Supreme Court did not take his case, but everyone was expecting that to just gut California's laws. But we will get there eventually in terms of guns in California. But yeah, Ed Peruto does
right after the great cataclysm that severs California from the rest of the United States and makes it Atlantis.
Well, we do have some
That's the only thing that's going to...
The Ninth Circuit actually, it's split about 50-50. So that's, whenever cases go in the Ninth Circuit, you kind of have this 50-50 shot if it will actually be viewed by people who are reading the Constitution. So we actually do have a couple gun cases that are in front of Judge Benitez. And people just love Judge Benitez because when it comes to guns, he doesn't mess around. He ended the 30 round ban for a very short time here in California before he was overruled. But people were able to then go out and suddenly buy all their 30 round magazines, and those are completely legal because it's a grandfather clause because you bought them during a legal period. But Judge Benitez has, I believe, 2 gun cases right now. So I think we're going to see the California gun laws in the next couple years be gutted significantly.
I think Juan has a video for us to watch. But, let's just do it early.
Really, I think that what you just said is right. That there are differences in what happened.
Yes, but the optics are not good.
Well, we all know that Trump is a liar and a thief. We know that. So it's not that big a jump to say that he obstructed and he lied. We don't think that Biden is a liar and a thief, so we give him the benefit of the doubt. That's partly what's going on. But what I think also is going on, no matter what the truth of it is, Whoopi, they will spin it, Bubblehead and Marjorie Taylor and that crowd, Matt Gaetz, you think they're not going to spin this, that it's just as bad as Trump? And so the lie gets out there, people believe it, just like that Donaldson person, whatever his name is.
Byron.
What's his name?
Byron
Donalds. I saw him also. He was at the fight on the floor, too, wasn't he?
He was nominated for Speaker a number of times.
People by 2 people.
He's the new darling.
One of the 15 rounds.
He's
I mean,
the
what I'm
darling
just
of the
saying is that
Republican
the
Party.
lying has been so invasive, so ubiquitous, that no one will believe the truth anymore. And that you can put that at the feet of Donald Trump, who started the lying.
So,
Shut your face!
Was that about this? Because they just found that Biden had classified material.
Yeah,
Look.
Biden's classified material. Just think about the irony of this is that you have, I think that's Joy Behar, right? Joy Behar is literally defending Biden by doing whataboutism. She never addresses the legality or the security concerns at all. It just says, well, yeah, but Trump's a liar. So Biden, but we just trust Biden to be truthful and honest. Like, I'm sorry, even the ones I like, I don't trust them to tell the truth.
Do you want to know what the difference between those two was? Is that the vice president cannot declassify materials. The president can declassify anything that he wants. That's the difference between those two cases right there.
Now watch, though. He's going to declassify it and say, well, I'm president, so I'm declassifying it now. And these same idiots, talking heads, media types, will go, yeah, but he has that authority. He could declassify it now. He has that authority. Frankly, I'm kind of tired of dealing with talking about the hypocrisy because it's not even a topic anymore. It's just a given. And it's a given on both the left and the right. Frankly, it's just, if you go back to the video of, I can't remember which congressman it was, that literally was going to go and attack Matt Gaetz.
Oh, yeah. Mike Rogers.
Yeah. It just granted, if that had been me, I'd have been, no, let him come. Go ahead. No, one. You get one poke, bro. One. You get one. I'm going to go full Malaysian House of Representatives on you right now. You take a swing at me. It's we'll be dueling in the street with slingshots if we have to, because there's no guns in DC. But
actually,
when you look at it, it's the hypocrisy of getting that angry, and resorting to near violence. I'm just tired of pointing it out because it doesn't do us any good, because the populace is just asleep. They don't care. They don't care.
Well, I actually, and this was why after the election, I was not one of the ones who was like, oh, this is horrible. Because when you actually started looking at the results, and I talked about this at the time of the election, the down ballot, MAGA candidates did very well. And the thing is, that's actually where, when it comes to party politics within the party, that's where the power resides, because that's where you get your precinct chairs. That's where you get your steering committees. So that's where people like McCarthy and Ronna McDaniel lost a lot of power was in this last election because it was a lot of Trump people and a lot of Freedom Caucus people who won. So they better get used to the Freedom Caucus. And, this is very indicative of history. Populism generally wins out, and eventually in the end. But with you talking there, you were talking about, oh, let them come. I do have a question, something I've been always wanting to ask you because of your job that you had for so many years.
Oh, no.
Did you ever have an inmate try to step up on you?
Oh, I was severely assaulted in the line of duty about 4 years before I was forced out of my career field. So, yeah, it was. And we didn't refer to them as inmates; they're detainees, by the way.
But they've been convicted, right?
Don't ask me to explain the distinction. Huh?
They've been convicted, though, right?
No, not all of them.
Oh,
that's
okay.
why they're detainees and not convicts.
That makes
inmates.
sense.
Because we dealt with both sides because we were at the county level, so we weren't part of the state Department of Corrections, and I was a sworn deputy as opposed to a correctional officer in a state-run facility, because we dealt with as detention deputies, we dealt with people who were coming off the street and people who were awaiting trial or serving brief sentences that were less than a year and a day. So yeah, I had a guy come after me and he was going to kill me. So yeah, it was a pretty bad scene.
Okay. Yeah, I was just always interested if that ever came up.
You're like all the civilians that like to ask all the guys that are veterans, so did you ever kill anybody?
Yeah, I mean, I am generally curious.
Not yet, but I'm getting real close.
No,
I said that to a guy once. He looked at me. He was like, "Should I be worried?" Not yet, but you should be real close.
It's funny because everyone who watches the show knows that I like to joke around, but yeah, I do enjoy. I don't necessarily enjoy being around crazy, but I like being around near people who are almost crazy. You know what I mean? And I'll give you an example. I went to a model train show once, and I'm pretty convinced that people who are into model trains are almost serial killers. They just haven't had that last push over the edge, because they make up stories about their little towns. Like their town has a name, and they'll be like, "This is Bill's Hardware. It's been open since 1948, and he runs it with his sons." And they have a very unique imagination. One of these days I want to do a video for the channel, though, where I go into a model train show dressed as Godzilla, just to see if they'll kick me out.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start a fundraiser for that, just to make sure it happens.
I might need bail.
Train con.
Just me and a photographer or a video guy.
I'm going to model train con.
When they're like, "What are you doing?" "Oh, we're just trying to set up this shot. It's going to be awesome. Trust me."
We're not going to break anything that you can't fix in a short period of time, and with a lot of glue. So what are we gonna focus on? I know that with our new season, I have a new series that I'm doing that's a Rumble exclusive on my channel, where it's called Behind the Curtain, and I mean there's more to it, but we're calling it Behind the Curtain, and I'm doing that with a friend who lost their mother to hospital protocols for COVID-19, and one of the first episodes, not our first, but our second actual scheduled episode is going to be on Thursday night, where we're going to be talking to the wife of a veteran who did die as a result of COVID-19 protocols in Omaha at, if people aren't familiar, Eppley Air Force Base is there. It used to be the home of Strategic Air Command. Juan knows all about that. And her husband died as a result of COVID protocols, and so we're going to be interviewing him or her on Thursday night, and then Dana, my co-host for that series, and she's lost her mother from the same thing. We're going to bring her on here to talk a little bit about why she wanted to have a good focus with that series about the VA and about veterans because, well, we all know how good of a job the VA hospital system does with veterans in general, let alone with like a pandemic, if you will. But what other things do you have in mind for our new season, Skipper? What do we got going on before we get into our real funny videos?
Well, I would really like to talk to more people who are fighting corruption. One guy that we discussed, who I found out is a guy that you actually talked to. He's from your home state of Minnesota. Is the Turbine Guy on YouTube?
Turbine Guy, yeah,
I watched.
his story is really funny because we've got all these people that want wind turbines, and they and and if I remember his story correctly, they came after him for having wind turbines
On his house,
and
and they're
on his house.
pretty inconspicuous.
Just yeah, and he just he's just been in a fight, and I've had several email exchanges with him, and back I don't want to say early, but about a year or so ago, and of course when you do a podcast, and Juan can attest to this, and you can attest to this, Skipper. When you do a podcast, when you do a show, you get email after email after email, and you'll interact, and then after a while, it's like you kind of lose contact. But
Hmm.
this guy's story is ongoing and
Oh, did we?
quite some time. So
Oh, I hear the wind picking up, and I'm wondering if I'm losing my connection. But yeah, I would love to talk with him about his ongoing story. It's very interesting. I will say one person that we've had on, or that we've highlighted on the show, who I do want to have on the show. He had a big win in court last week. Is Justin Shots of 68 Shots on YouTube. He was several weeks ago. He was found not guilty of assault on one of the videos that we showed here, and they are now the Michigan Attorney General has assigned to him a special prosecutor, and on that one of the other videos that we highlighted here, where he was attacked for just attending his local charter township meeting, that deputy sheriff
by
who
law
attacked him,
enforcement, let's
yeah,
make sure people understand that
yeah,
it was an unlawful use of force against him by a deputy that was assigned to security for
for Calhoun County.
the county commission meeting.
Yep,
Yeah,
and that
and
individual
and that was a case that he won.
well, no, that he won the assault case for against his neighbor later on because he had his own video to show that he did not assault anyone. They were trying to use,
But wasn't he Yeah, I'm saying he was exonerated in that, but
yeah.
all of that led to him being
So
assaulted then by a deputy.
actually, the deputy assault came earlier in the day, but it was over his dispute with his neighbor, and the deputy is now been charged with assault and has also been given a no contact order. And Mr. Schatz has been uncovering a lot of corruption in his area of Michigan. The prosecutor who has not prosecuted any of the things that have happened to him and has just pretty much tried to maliciously prosecute him, he, in conjunction with his charter township, have been trying to take people's properties away so the township can do, I guess, some new development on the lakes in their area. So he's been highlighting that corporation or that corruption, and I'd like to keep spotlighting good people out there doing stuff like that, and that would be great. If you know of anyone out there, send them to our show. I believe I have our email in the description of the show if you're watching on YouTube. But that's where I really enjoy the show going if we can.
Especially if it involves veterans.
Absolutely.
Yeah. considering we call the show Better Nation.
Nation of Veterans just didn't seem to roll off the tongue as easy.
Juan, you got funnies for us tonight? So, do you have something that will make us notice? Yeah. You can roll that wonderful footage.
For over half a century, this is what U.S. Army recruits faced on day one of boot camp.
Are you having a problem? Listen to the
But no more, because this is what day one looks like now. They're even clapping. This is the infamous shark attack, where drill sergeants go out of their way to break 18-year-old Army recruits who just left the comfort of their homes a few hours earlier. Imagine 3 drill sergeants screaming in your face, one ordering you to get down, the other telling you to get up, while the third one asks you philosophical questions. But just like many celebrities, the shark attack got cancelled. It's been almost 2 years since the Army's 2020 announcement, which changed the way infantry recruits were greeted at basic training. Apparently, the yelling is now too aggressive on trainees, but it doesn't stop there. U.S. Army's 2021 guidelines on appearance standards authorizes additional colors of lipstick and nail polish for females and wearing clear nail polish by male soldiers. They even removed and replaced words like mohawk, dreadlock, and faddish, calling them potentially offensive and weaponized. As you can imagine, many have voiced concerns over U.S. Army's recent decisions, criticizing the Army for accommodating snowflakes and giving in to the woke culture. Even though you may not believe it, this is a pivotal point in the history of the U.S. Army, who's fighting a war in the United States. Because failure to win this war, which concerns me millennials and phone zombies of Gen Z, could mean the demise of the U.S. Army. But it's not what you think. On October 29, 1940, a nationwide lottery was held across the United States. The winners would become the first people in American history to be drafted into military.
Oh, what
I
are
like
you
the
laughing
clapping.
at? The Marines are doing it too.
Oh, they absolutely are. And trust me, I'm seeing it. I do like the clapping though. That we should all clap for each other. You know, we need that Jeb Bush clip of please clap.
He's low energy. Poor Jeb's low energy.
Poor Jeb. He'll never get the job. But yeah,
He
that's
doesn't need it.
we need kinder DIs. Don't you know that? You know, they'll be like, "Come on, guys, just line up right now. Just line up."
Well, you've heard that all of the former Warsaw Pact weapons are now firing rounds that are made out of marshmallows. So
That's what we needed. We needed more people to talk about their feelings and their pronouns.
my pronouns for combat are kick your ass. That's my.
I love that Alex Stein dressed in the army uniform with the puppy mask.
I love that people took him seriously. That's what I love.
Oh my god,
That
yeah.
people are like, they took him seriously. They're like, this is horrible. They shouldn't be treating these people this way.
It's funny because
I just want to see the paratrooper rig. I just want to see the paratrooper rig for jumping Alex Stein into combat as a K9.
It's funny you say that because I just watched someone talking about, they posted the clip of Alex Stein in front of the Las Vegas City Council telling him how bad it is that they allow gambling because he came there for a trip so that his wife could be with her boyfriend. And all these people are like, his wife's boyfriend? Oh, the guy is a genius. But,
And ladies and gentlemen, this is what has happened to our show. So. We're now promoting other people. We're just like, we don't have any content. Go watch Alex Stein.
Hey, there's many good
I
people
don't
out there.
understand why our subscriber count's not going up. Yes. No, go Juan. Just no transition. Just go for it.
What's that, boy? It's okay. I don't know. Air Force. You know what that thing does? What thing? It's scary. Me neither. Navy. You know what that thing does? Oh no. Kind of cute though. Let's go ask Space Force. Yo. Tell me what that thing does. I can swim. Processing. It does nothing. I can swim and do both stuff.
Do bubble stuff.
The funny thing about
Do you think the Coast Guard is just begging to be released from the Department of Homeland Security? And just like, can we please
they're hoping
let
it
us
gets
be
them
back
a raise.
in the Department of Defense? You know what? No, never mind. You have the Space Force now. No one wants to be affiliated with that. So.
What's funny about that is I always said the greatest thing about being a Marine is it's the job where people can ask you a question and growling is an acceptable answer. Like walking into the office, people are like, "Good morning, sir," and you're just like, perfectly fine. Try that at your civilian job. They'll be like, "I think there's something wrong with Dave today."
I get that all the time. How's your day going? I'm like, peachy. Why do you sound so cranky? I'm like, what do you want me to sound like?
This is normal mode.
Just here to do a job. What'd you say, Juan? All right. I don't have much to fill for 6 minutes. So what do you? What about you? You got 6 minutes worth of material, or are we gonna give Juan an early night?
I could fill 6 minutes, but if Juan wants an early night, I think by God, we owe him that.
Yeah, the first show of the season. I mean, he's only had 3 weeks off from us.
Well, he's out there where it's almost I forget the time zone that Nova Scotia's on.
It's 9:09 right now for Juan. So
yeah, because I think Maine was trying to move over to whatever. It's not Eastern time zone, but it's like Atlantic. Is that what it is, Juan? Do you know? Atlantic time zone? Yeah. So they wanted to be later. So they wanted to be like 10 o'clock right now. So Juan's almost there. He's, he just thinks he's special.
It's like my oldest granddaughter, like when she comes over to visit and she's like, okay, Grandma, first lunch and then nap time. I'm like, you're going to be a great Marine.
Oh, I wish we had nap time. I think we should institute a national nap time. That would be great. Bring your pillow to work day.
No, sir. No. So we're working on somebody for next week. Let's tease it out a little bit. It sounds like we might have somebody for next week.
Yeah, we have a veteran who makes T-shirts, and real ones this time, not just the guy who was selling them out of his trunk of his car. No, he's actually
you had
a guy.
Someone on who
We might be.
You had someone on who was just selling T-shirts out of the trunk of his car.
Well, I've had people on who do that. That's just not their. They work the hustle, is I guess what they would say.
They just find whatever's current.
They're selling dead homie
T-shirts
T-shirts that are airbrushed, like you get at like the ghetto mall. Oh my God, that should be our new merch.
No.
Skipper and TC dead homie T-shirts, like airbrushed. This is a great idea.
So anyway, we've got a veteran coming on next week. Hopefully, that's
We'll table
actually
this.
makes merchandise.
We'll table this for then.
No, we're not. It's not tabling. It's literally we're not talking about it anymore ever again.
You say that now until I bring it up next week.
Watch what I do then. So we've got this guy coming on.
Yeah.
And he is.
He is. His name is Nick, and sorry, I'm having a hard time with my phone right now. But respect,
Professional show, folks. Just remember.
Respect.com. Respect Clothing is the name of it. RESPKT. So he must be a Marine because of his spelling abilities. But he'll be on the show, and we might be changing up the way we do our merch. So this might be a connection for us. Who knows?
Well, my merch people are more than happy to work with us, but
we got to come up with more stuff and get more stuff out there because there's I think
we
Juan
need an
should have
artistic.
We need a Juan shirt. I truly believe that.
We need a picture of Juan holding up a sign saying, "You're fired, TC," and then that can be on a mug.
But yeah, so we got some merch ideas, some good things. I want a T-shirt that says "Send me nudes when you get home," so I know you got home safe. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there's
The views of Skipper do not necessarily reflect the views of normal, rational people.
They barely even represent my views. I just say it if I think it's
or
funny.
Rationality, honestly. So, oh, Juan, do you have something funny for us to watch on the way out, or are we just gonna say goodbye to Skipper? We're just gonna say goodbye to Skipper. All right.
Plug your stuff, man.
Head on over to Minnesota Black Robe Regiment on YouTube and Rumble. Once again, I've got a couple of really good interviews coming up this week for my new second season of my Libertarian Lowdown series on Minnesota Black Robe Regiment. Tomorrow night, I've got Angela McCardle, who's the chair of the Libertarian National Committee. And then on Friday night, I've got Reed Coverdale from Naturalist Capitalists coming on the show. He's agreed to come on. I'm working on a couple of others as well. And then next Tuesday, immediately following, well, actually on Monday night, I have Dr. Brian Artis coming on for TC and Friends Monday Night Musing. He's coming on, and we're going to have an interesting conversation because I kind of took him and Stu Peters to task over the train wreck that was the Watch the Water documentary. And we're going to talk to Brian about his experience with that documentary and how it impacted his ability in the world. And then Tuesday night, right immediately following Veteran Nation, I'm going to be having a lady on from California named Thelma, whose daughter moved to Minnesota, and Thelma is battling to get custody of her grandchildren in the state of Minnesota. Made her jump through all of these foster care hoops, and then as soon as she jumped through all of them and qualified, they told her, "Oh no, we're not going to let you foster your own grandchildren, and in fact, we're stripping your daughter of her parental rights, and we're adopting the children out to non-family members."
Interesting. I'll look forward to that episode. I might join in and have some questions for her. Give my best to Dr. Artis. Me and Juan met him in Anaheim. He's incredibly tall and a very nice guy. So that'll be a good discussion that you have with him.
That's the first thing I'm going to say. Hey, Juan and Mike said hi, and he's going to be like, "Who?" You met him in Anaheim.
But he's an interesting guy. I interviewed him. He's a very interesting guy. And I do want everyone to join us on Facebook. Our group name there is Veteran Nation. You can also follow us on Instagram at Vet Nation Show. And just follow us and give us your comments on the show. If you're not watching live, give us some comments, and we'll read them later and get back to you. And I think that's all we have for this week. So, ladies and gentlemen,
and if you're a veteran that's got a really good story,
absolutely,
to tell about,
or if you're
like
doing
a business
something cool
that you've started, or if you got a business that you started, or you're fighting the system, and it can help other veterans or even people who aren't veterans. Excuse me, we'd love to have you come on and talk about that. And just a real quick one, Garrett, my friend's son, who's there out in Virginia, he's still in very serious condition, but he is making progress, and it's Reston, Virginia. But he is making daily progress. It looks like he's probably going to survive. It's going to be a long row for him to hoe. So, and for his family. But this is why things like veteran suicide and PTSD and veteran mental health are so important to this show. And, and why accountability is so important to us as well, because we're sending billions of dollars to other countries to fight other wars, and we're not taking care of our veterans here at home at all, ladies and gentlemen.
absolutely.
So, Skipper, take us out.
If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe and leave a comment. And as always, thank you for being worth serving.